human society cannot be rationally understood until it is seen for what it is. A series of farms where human farmers own human livestock. This human farming has been the most profitable and destructive occupation throughout history.
Ideas spread, they can't stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army or any government.
We're not a bunch of underachievers. We're going to stand up and we're going to be human beings. We're going to get fired up about the real things, the things that matter. Creativity and the dynamic human spirit that refuses to submit.
Our nation is drifting dangerously from freedom to fascism. So I have to ask, is it time?
Thank you so much for joining us for another live edition of The Big Plantation here on FPRNradio.com. We thank you, everyone, for listening to us tonight. So, to start off, I just wanted to get in something personal with me. And, I've been going through a lot of tribulations recently and, going through a hard time. I kind of mentioned it before about how Obamacare has affected me with, my job and everything. And basically in the same week, I lost one job and got my hours cut at the other. And it's just been a really, really tough process. And just been going through life with that and keep having problems come my way and not have the money for it. And, I had a moment of weakness, about a week ago. I had an issue with my car. I wasn't sure how I was going to pay for it. And I even posted on Facebook that I'm not sure how much longer I could do this. I don't know how much longer I can keep my focus on the activist part of my life. And anybody who knows me knows how important that is in my life and how much effort I put into it, how much time I put into it, and for, years now, 3 or 4 years. But the reason I'm getting into this is because from the beginning, if you remember, if you go all the way back to the first episode of The Big Plantation, I promised you guys that I would give you raw Mike, that I wanted to, be intimate with my audience, and I wanted to keep it real, so to speak. I wanted to, maintain that level of a relationship with you guys. And I know that I'm not the only one going through these things as we sacrifice for this fight for freedom and the message. So, like I said, I had a moment of weakness, and, if it wasn't for the strength and the belief of my friends and partners here from the Big Plantation, I was really, really considering it. I was really considering it, but you know what? Again, through the strength of my friends and partners here, I'm going to keep on keeping on. I'm going to, not let it get the best of me, and keep my priorities straight. And I just have to work that much harder to overcome the obstacles while also doing what I feel is right in my heart with this whole project. And so I thank you guys for listening. And I hope that kind of helps anybody out there who might be going through a similar tough time or anything like that. The tagline of our show here is "You are not alone." And for a little bit, I lost sight of it. And I want to thank my friends, Jamie, who joins me tonight as always, and also thank Alex Jones, who is with us tonight.
No problem, Michael. I want to thank you, first of all, for being a patriot. I want to thank you also for always having a glycerine base at the bottom of your bed. Keeping that there, because that's the only way to keep true purity stabilized. So as you have these beautiful dreams and thoughts secrete from your pineal gland out of your eardrops and slide down your neck into that glycerin base, we condense it and we sell it at prisonplan.com. So I want to thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. But ladies and gentlemen, Moses flows. He's a character. But no, seriously, on a serious note, I do want to thank you guys. Moses, you in particular gave me a huge pep talk that helped put a lot of things in perspective. And, it was, like I said, it was a moment of fear and doubt, and I'm still going through it, how I'm going to get myself back on my feet. I had to go through a moving process, and I'm still going through that, but we're going to keep going. So I thank you guys, and, thanks for keeping me grounded and keeping me, for pushing me.
Yeah, and thank you, Obama.
Because
an Obama girl. But thank you, Mike, for your levity, your honesty, your vote this 2016, as although it seems to be against the nature of our country as per certain amendments to an unsaid document, I will run again. So thank you for giving me your vote.
You know damn well I'm not voting. I'm out the voting game. We all know that. Let's not front.
No, but seriously though, that's a very honest statement to make. Takes a lot of guts. Throw yourself out on a ledge. Takes a certain kind of people to put that kind of stuff out there. And I appreciate you for sharing it. I hope that our audience understands that Mike is showing you a side of a real person, not just a personality within the Liberty Movement who deals with real things. Going back to a couple weeks ago when we interviewed Poe, who added levity to his situation, and I think you do the same there. And I applaud you for it. Now start building. Stop bitching. You got this, bro. Jamie?
Yeah.
So-
That's what you wanted me to say.
So speaking of building, you have been breaking hearts, Moses. You've been breaking hearts with these pranks that you're pulling, and I really think you need to talk for the next 2 hours about how you're gonna redeem yourself.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. First off, I want to make a public apology. First off, if I knew anything about what was going on, there is no way. If you people know me, you people know how I interact, how I behave, how I would run a ship. And certainly as a part of the Big Plantation, the very last thing that I would want to have happen is have this negative light cast upon what it is we do here. So therefore, I must plead complete ignorance to the situation while
Well, what is
still
the negative
remaining
light, first of all? What is the negative
fault.
light?
Excuse me?
What is the negative light, first of all?
Well, we'll get there.
You need to acknowledge the seriousness of your crimes here.
Am I not? My crimes? First off, I had no idea that my Facebook account was being used in such a way, but I am at fault because we do employ employees here who maintain certain postings on behalf of any personality from the Big Plantation, and you have my word that that person is fired. That person will no longer be a part of my administration because not administration, but our collective productions, because the number one thing for me is to be completely transparent. And I apologize to anybody who was fooled by the changing of the name of my Facebook from Moses Flows to Alex Jones and thereafter to Salix Bones and any other derivative of the name Alex Jones InfoWars owned. Sorry. It will not happen again, and any posts that were made that hurt people's feelings or deceived them, and certainly to the puppeteer audience or anybody who has a loved one who is a puppeteer, I apologize if this hurt them in any way, and I'm sorry if it stopped the flow of traffic of good information. You see, I feel as though because of certain actions of people who are underneath me, who I don't know everything they're doing, and that's my fault. That is certainly my fault, but I'm showing great leadership right now by saying heads are going to roll, and certainly somebody will be fired for what took place. You have my word of that, but I'll open it up to questions in a moment. But to stop the flow of anything, trafficking information, to put a halt to it almost with a falsification, therefore, of my name and information, therefore, that I'm giving through that name apparatus, somebody messed up, and they're going to pay for that. And me, I take full responsibility as the leader of the Moses Flows Facebook. I apologize. I'll open it to questions.
And I'm sure this firing is going to haunt your dreams.
Next question.
So whose head is going to roll?
Max. Max, if you're hearing this, I don't want to put this out in public. As a member of the Big Plantation family, somebody has to be held responsible underneath us, and I just don't approve of the messaging that was happening. Well, we'll talk in private, but for the public arena, Max will be reprimanded for his actions.
Yeah, I mean,
involving
there's
Moses
just too much
Flows
of this
changing
going on.
Facebook name to Alex Jones.
There's just too much of this hijacking of people's images going on, man. It's really, it's damaging. It really is, because
there's been a guy in my neighborhood that said he's Mike Heist for the past couple of weeks. He lives on the corner of 7th and Main in Stroudsburg, And he's got a sign that says, "I am Michael Heiss." And I said, "No, man, you're not Michael Heiss. I know Michael Heiss." And he said, "Buy me booze. They don't sell me in there anymore." And I said, "That's what this is about. You stole
Exactly.
personality because you can't get sold booze anymore because you keep pissing in front of the laundry store."
People can mix that up with me. People can mix that up with me. Or let's talk about a real serious one. There's another case of this that's going on that I think is just horrible for the person who's having their image attached to this, and that's Kanye West. This guy is a victim. I don't know if anyone's heard, but there's a cryptocurrency that has been started, and it at first was called the Kanye West, and it had a picture that looked unscrupulously like the artist genius, a voice of a generation, awful rapper Kanye West. And so he had his lawyers put a stop to it. And this is mainstream news articles about this. This isn't a joke. I thought it was a joke at first. But so he tried to have his lawyers put a cease and desist on this. So then they changed it, launched the cryptocurrency early, and changed it from the Kanye West to just the Kanye. And now there is a picture of on the currency online. The image that represents this currency is a half fish, half genius rapper.
I want to just take a moment to speak not for Big Plantation or FPRN. I have yet to have the opportunity to talk to our bosses at FPRN. I'm hoping tonight to finish up that meeting. But the Kanye is now the official alternative currency of BAP Nation and Coke's News. And I'm hoping to create that same partnership here at FPRN and Big Plantation. I believe that this is a competing currency that we can all get behind. And I want to make it so that the Kanye is on par with, at very least, Mountain Hours. And then Bitcoin, American dollar, and beyond. The Kanye is something I believe in. The Kanye represents the death of the cult of personality. It's got a gay fish on it. I'm in talks with ALG Coin, Tanner Decker, shout out, who is going to mint the first Kanyes that will be actually made out of tangible coins, both gold and silver, with a beautiful half fishman logo. And I think the metaphor is a beautiful thing. And I believe and I urge everyone to invest as much time, effort, and then eventually funds into Kanye. And let's help make Kanye the unstoppable currency that no megalomaniac could ever stop because of the ingenious tactical legal actions of the makers of Kanye. So therefore, please back Kanye. And once again, I won't officially say that Big Plantation and FPRN Radio are behind it until I can speak to our forefathers of FPRN Radio, but I'm pretty sure they're going to agree that this is the currency of the future. Jamie?
In a civilized world, man. But yeah, Jamie?
Moses, do you like fish sticks?
I still don't understand when people fire that joke off. I've yet to really grasp it. But yes, as I've said 100 times before, I like fish sticks.
So wait a minute. Wait, hold up. You like to put fish sticks in your mouth?
Well, how else are you going to eat fish sticks?
You're a gay
and it's a stupid fucking question. And every time I get asked it, everybody giggles. And it's fucking stupid. And I completely understand why Kanye West likes fish sticks. Because when you put fish sticks in your mouth, the juices from them, especially because they're frozen first, usually. But when they've softened and are warm, the fish stick will actually melt in your mouth. It's delicious. Why wouldn't you put fish sticks in your mouth, Jamie?
I got nothing for you, Moses. I'm sorry.
I didn't think so. So
hold on. You're a gay fish. No, but you know what? The Kanye,
very funny. It doesn't make any sense. Because if you think about this, though, if I had a pie chart, all right, and it was showing the percentage of fishes, and then the 10% of male fishes which would decide to engage in sexual activities with other male fishes, not one of them could be guaranteed to be the fish used to create fish sticks. So how are you a gay fish for putting fish dick in your mouth?
Come on, man. Just get it. Just get it, man. Nah, but you know, the coin, yay, it's got its work cut out for it, though. And because I don't know if you heard about what happened with Bitcoin, but it went live, I think it was just 2 or 3 days ago, that Overstock.com is now accepting Bitcoins. Which, that's huge, man. I mean, that's, the sister site of eBay. You can buy a lot of things off of Overstock. Go ahead.
And something else going on with Bitcoin that hasn't happened yet, but I'm going to make a prediction right here on air.
Oh my God.
There are banks out in the Midwest that are now refusing money that's coming in from a lot of the new marijuana facilities that have just opened up. I just see a very big potential for a free market solution to banks that don't want to receive the money from these marijuana distributors.
Is it because they feel that the money is dirty money, Jamie?
Well, I mean, I find that really strange considering the CIA's been laundering money in our banks.
Absolutely. It makes it almost as if they're intentionally going to make the necessity of an alternative pure weed cash crop currency. And Bitcoin would be a really good way to do that. But in order for that to really benefit, because you always have to look at who benefits, they would have to be acquired by a government entity in order for that to happen. Wouldn't you think?
I think we've got the makings of a conspiracy going on here.
I don't want to say any conspiracy theories. We don't have time for that. But what we do have time for is questions. And I have a question for Mike Heiss. Mike Heiss, who created Bitcoin first? And the second part of that is you said that there are certain ATMs that are issuing actual physical Bitcoins. I was wondering what those were made of and how much it would cost then to produce those.
How much it would cost to produce them? I don't have the details of that. All we know about who made it is some Japanese guy. That's the best I got. I mean, Jamie, you know his name. I forget his name. But
Satoshi Nakamoto.
That guy.
I hate you, Jamie. I hate your super stupid brain. I hate your ability to recall. I hate it all. But now that we've narrowed it down to Japan, how's Japan's markets doing?
Well, what does that have to do with Bitcoin?
I'm just questioning. I was curious. Jamie?
Well, the markets are doing great as long as the government says that they're doing great. Just like the radiation's fine as long as the government says it's fine. And you only go to jail if you report on it.
Listen, gay fish. If you got a problem with Bitcoin, why don't you just lay it out right now? What's up?
What?
I said if you got a problem with Bitcoin, just lay it out right now.
I don't have a problem with Bitcoin. I have a concern about Bitcoin. Producer.
Yes, master.
If you could just pull up some audio of anybody talking negative about Bitcoin, or use your own audio. That's cool with me too.
No, but you got to admit, though, that's pretty big. Overstock.com, I'm not even sure what Bitcoin's at. I know it crossed the $1,000 threshold again not too long ago. But the fact that it's on Overstock that's a doozy. Like, that's kind of a landmark. That's a major, because, there's markets out there where you can buy pretty much anything with Bitcoin, but it's kind of specialized around,
How much tax do you have to pay for your Bitcoin to turn it over to dollars?
Well, how much tax you have to pay?
Mm-hmm.
None. That's the whole point.
Really? How much tax do you pay on gold?
None.
How much tax on silver?
None.
Jamie?
I'm sorry. I'm kind of drawing a blank on this subject. Do you pay a tax on gold?
Do I? I don't know. I don't have enough money to buy gold. But my question is, if you can purely cash out Bitcoin from your ATM without any sort of service fee, transference fee into the American dollar, and it's purely based on the value that it's selling in the market based on American dollars, I don't believe that it will stay that way.
But that's the wrong way to look at it.
What's that?
That's not the proper way to look at it, because that's looking at it like an investment and not a currency. So because there's markets that you can't go to a market online and say how many ounces of gold does this item cost. You have to do your own conversions, and then you'd have to do a third party. Whereas you can straight up buy things with Bitcoin. So you're not describing, like, what you're describing is an increase in value, because I can get a $1,200 computer for Looking at it right now, my ticker says $937 for a Bitcoin right now. So for about
last year, when Bitcoin hit its peak, it was slightly above the value of gold for a short amount of time. Is that correct, Jamie?
Yep.
Yes, it was.
That's right. Okay, so now it's plateaued a little bit. It's dropped a tiny bit, but still well more valuable than the American dollar per Bitcoin, right? So it would be right up there with our precious metals.
I mean,
but the precious
it's been
metals
fluctuating.
Yeah, but the precious metals are a hedge. Really, the importance of precious metals in the past was that the dollar was tied to them and that you could use that leverage to keep banks in check. Since that's gone, it's really just a freezing of your value of your money when you buy it. It's something that you put under the mattress. You can't go to the store and use it. Whereas Bitcoin... Perfect idea. So therefore, it would then suit somebody who was an investor to use an item like Bitcoin to invest in, say, last year, before it hit its legendary peak. When it got to that legendary peak, then sell it, causing it to drop in value to 800, I believe it is now. They would have made a very good... is what I'm seeing.
What's that?
It's at 937 according to Mt. Gox.
It's doing great. I'm saying if it drops to 600, say, and we buy it, and it goes back to that legendary high that it hit last year, how much value did you actually increase just by buying Bitcoin and then selling when it reached its peak?
Well, yeah, you can make Federal Reserve notes on it, but that's like saying if I buy a car...
I'm arguing that nobody is doing anything except for trying to increase their portfolio, which is relevant only in Federal Reserve notes.
I do have to take Moses' side on this one because they definitely, I mean, Bitcoin has been used nothing as a manipulated market for people to make money on thus far. People have been using
the market. But that's just not true, because if that were true, then there would be no markets available where you can buy things. I see statuses all the time. Hey, I just bought a laptop because of Bitcoin. I just bought this and
you just saw an advertisement for Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I traded some silver for food earlier.
Yeah, but that's not the norm. You can't do that. That is a situational basis between you and a person willing to do that silver. I can literally go on Overstock and buy anything that I want with Bitcoin. You can't do that with gold or silver.
Did they make that agreement with Overstock? How much do you think they closed that deal for in American dollars?
I don't know. And I'm sure now to answer your question, I'm sure that they're taking those Bitcoins that they make and converting them to dollars, which comes back to the problem of any alternative currency is that the manufacturing is done with the dollar. But that is not a knock against the currency. That's a knock against currency laws. It's just that the dollar is...
What about currency trading? Are you up to speed on currency trading? It's a big, bustling market in Wall Street right now.
Well, yeah, it always is. I mean, I know there's different things going on with the yuan right now. I think the yuan just overtook the dollar in some statistic. I think it's even more traded than the dollar now. But
so what do people do in that trade, in that practice? Mostly Wall Street types.
What do they do?
Yes. How is currency trading profitable for somebody's portfolio? Why would they do commercials to get into currency trading, have TV shows exclusively explaining that the best way to increase your portfolio is to get into currency trading? And if it's so lucrative, why aren't you up to speed on it and doing it?
Well, because I have no capital. I just told you how I moved out of my house.
Right. But can we agree that currency trading is one of the only ways during a recession that the higher majority of money holders create capital?
Well, sure, yeah, that and derivatives, and look at the housing market crash. They had insider trading, but that's not the point with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a form of agorism. It's counter-economics.
Besides all the philosophical loving of Bitcoin, I'm asking, when did this currency trading become so lucrative? I would say within the past couple of years. Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, currency trading's definitely been in play for quite a while, but as far as with Bitcoin, it's become very popularized in the last year.
Of course, but it was popular right before it. In fact, it was rising because of inflation and with the dying of dollars overseas and with the rising of the euro and as the yen was doing crazy influxes and whatnot. Then to be able to speculate which country's currency was going to go down or up, it became its own market. It became you had your
most
own,
of it started out of the U.S. dollar losing its reserve status as the currency in international trade.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this created a huge market. And when you create a market, it's almost like creating a vacuum, and then you have to fill a vacuum. I would argue then, if you found a way as a trader of currency to create a currency 100% for the purpose of pumping and dumping something that did not exist because you can't control, quote unquote, supposedly, the currencies of the countries within this market, well, then if you created a competing one that you could, then you can make an awful lot of useless Federal Reserve notes based on the ups and downs of that currency.
I think this can all be cleared up really, really simply because we got to move at some point here. But there's a PR statement that I believe our producer has queued up for us.
That was what I was waiting on. Thank you, producer.
There are reports that there is no evidence of a direct link between Baghdad and some of these terrorist organizations.
There are known knowns. There are things we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
Excuse me, but is this an unknown unknown?
I'm not.
Several unknowns, and I'm just wondering if this is an unknown.
I'm not going to say which it is.
Mr. Secretary,
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin joins us. Good evening.
Could have let that roll.
Yeah, it's fine. But there are known unknowns, so that's just what it is. And there's unknown unknowns, and we just don't know.
I'm just bringing up a interesting avenue to delve into the unknown with, which is currency trading, which is a phenomenon that's not very old, but is very popular and certainly lucrative for those who practice it. It's also being promoted on every major economic-based television show on the mainstream media. At this time, Bitcoin's only true value can only be equated out to how well it does in our market based on the dollar. Therefore,
why do you keep ignoring that you can use Bitcoin to buy anything that you want online?
Because nobody's doing that, Mike. The only
That's
people
just not true. They made $120,000 or $150,000 in 12 hours on Overstock through Bitcoin.
$150,000 isn't a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money, but how many people have Bitcoin to use? How much of the market is that?
And how they must have enough of it for it to be doing this well in our market. The market made it so that right now, it's selling at almost the price of gold. And what else can you say that was manufactured to do that? And when you can only call it a currency, then it should only really be measured how well it does against other currencies. Therefore,
but how do you measure a currency? You measure a currency by what you can get in return in the form of goods and services for it.
Unless you wanted one that you could do that a little bit with, but really primarily we're going to use to manipulate the market through currency trading. Because what we're talking about with Bitcoin is a new currency that is not connected to any country, that is able to be traded, bought and sold, highs and lows, and exchanged for the American dollar or whatever country you live in and practice this Bitcoin trade in. Is that right? I mean, you said 150 grand was made so far in actual
in the first 12 hours, about $150,000 worth of transactions had gone on just on Overstock.com alone. That's one website in 12 hours in Bitcoin.
And those people that bought
and
anything
billions
other
of dollars,
than food,
over
water,
$1 billion
and canned goods.
What did you say?
What were these people buying? Do you have those reports?
How could I know that? No, but look at the Silk Road. That had over $1 billion in cash moved through it in the form of Bitcoins.
Well, we are coming up against the break, and we got the phone lines are open, everybody. The number is 567-314-9296, and we will see you on the other side of this break.
We love you, America.
And the devil's in your basement. He's climbing up the stairs. He's here, there, and everywhere.
Hi, I'm Trevor Moore. Due to the recent revelations that in order to fight terrorism, the NSA has been using a secret court order to spy on every single Verizon and AT&T customer, Americans have become outraged and concerned about their rights to privacy. But along with that concern comes a feeling of hopelessness. I mean, what can we do? Vote in new leaders? Well, the problem is that during an election, each candidate pretends to not be an asshole. Then when they get the job, they reveal that they've actually been a complete asshole this entire time. No, elections are of no use. The only way to fight back against our country's excessive wiretapping and data mining is to make it irrelevant. That's why we're launching Operation Everyone Talk Like a Terrorist all the time. If we all openly discuss terrorist plots in each of our phone conversations, then eavesdropping on those phone conversations becomes pointless. It's simple. We just need to work it into our daily vernacular. For example, instead of saying, I love you, you could describe a terror attack. The larger the scale, the more you love the person.
Hi, Mom. I just got out of school. Can you pick me up?
I'll be there in 15 minutes. I'm gonna use a truck bomb to blow up the Brooklyn Bridge.
I'm yelling anthrax to Piers to Morgan.
Or nonsense about God's will being great could mean affirmative.
Hey, man, they have a 7:30 show, and do you think you can make it in time?
God is merciful and his love is unchanging. Did you already get me a ticket?
And those are just a few examples. You can make up your own. Have fun with it. But it's time for us to stand up and protect our rights. Because those assholes aren't going to.
Do you have a group or organization founded on the principles of personal liberty, health freedom, or accountable government? We invite you to check out Same Side Entertainment. Get connected with leaders in the liberty movement like Tom Woods, Kevin Gutzman, Jack Hunter, Robert Scott Bell, Michael Scheuer, and many more. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our website at www.samesideentertainment.com. Again, that's www.samesideentertainment.com. Same Side Entertainment, connecting you with the education and resources you need.
Hi, I'm Steve.
I'm Irene. I'm Lisa.
My name is Tom. I'm a graphic designer,
College freshman. Stay-at-home mom with a full-time job.
Scholar on social policy and a barista.
and I'm just like you.
I'm an Obama supporter.
I support President Obama.
But the president needs your help.
Our president can't launch into another war without you. And remember, we promise to support him no matter what.
Together, we can do it.
That's why we here at the Americans for Whatever Barack Obama Wants, Did You Know He's Friends with Jay-Z, have launched a Kickstarter campaign to fund World War III.
And America is dead-ass broke. So our goal is to raise $1.6 trillion on behalf of the U.S. government.
That's where you come in.
Even a small donation would make all the difference.
When I first saw the president speak in 2008, in a YouTube clip posted to my Facebook page, I knew he was going to be right all the time. So I support World War III and IV and any moon war the president may want to start.
I mean, there is no way that he or the cabal of corporate interests, spy agencies, and shadow bankers that tell him what to do would ever mislead us. A $25 donation will get you a piece of rubble from a war-torn Middle Eastern country kissed by Senator Lindsey Graham.
A $100 donation gets you a day pass to leave your local refugee camp.
You'll probably end up in a refugee camp, but it'll have free Wi-Fi.
So please, help us reach our goal of $1.6 trillion so we can make World War III a reality. Why? Because Obama.
Because Obama.
To think something so small could control you.
And everything you do.
When your life and all you love
are on the line. The RFID chip is always with you, threatening your privacy, causing severe risk to your health and personal safety, and killing you if you do not obey rogue government demands.
Because I want to increase my risk of cancer.
Because I want to live in a cash-free society.
Because now the government is looking out for us.
Because I have the mark of the beast, but it doesn't have me.
Ask your doctor how to get your chip implanted today.
Because we want to track your every move.
In 1997, a high school shooting was stopped by a vice principal with a gun. In 1998, a middle school shooting was ended by a neighbor with a gun. In 2002, a terrorist attack was stopped by a school guard and a teacher with a gun. After September 11th, pilots began carrying guns to protect their passengers. Let's give our schools and teachers the same option. Sign the petition at defendschools.com.
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.
Can somebody get me a goddamn lighter that wasn't made in China? Jeez. Yes, Katie.
Mr. President?
What is it?
Mr. Emmanuel,
Put him through. Hey, Rambo.
Barry.
Good morning.
I just got off the phone with David. He said he faxed you a copy of your next speech.
Lovely.
Katie should have it.
Okay.
Briefly.
Absolutely.
Try to get it right this time.
Will do, Ram.
Okay, I'll talk to you.
Thank you. Every day, one less person thinks I'm crazy.
And we are back on this live broadcast of the Big Plantation, brought to you by FPRNradio.com. And so we were going through a bit of a disagreement in our views of Bitcoin before we left. But honestly, I think that's one of the things that makes us diverse and unique, is that we don't agree on a lot of things, especially given my more anarchistic stance on things and your guys is more... I think you would both be classified as quote-unquote minarchists. But moving along...
I'm so sick and tired of you classifying me for myself.
I don't want your damn labels.
Status. But hold on. We
no
got
lines. No lines, anarchists. No lines. But let me neatly put two of my close friends into a box with a title. Statist.
I mean...
I got claustrophobia, man. This is bullshit.
I mean, it's either you believe in the arbitrary authority of government or not.
That's way too black and white, bro.
Can we? All right. How about this? We will agree to have this argument either on the next segment or the last segment, so we can do what we got to do with this phone call, because this is gonna be cool.
As long as you promise that when we're done debating, you don't declare victory to an imaginary fight that you had only in your head.
Well, that remains to be seen. Okay. So, all right, what we're going to do right now is, I don't know if anybody saw this earlier, but our good friends in the alternative media, Cop Block, they do great work. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of them, but, they release a lot of stories of police misconduct, police brutality. They organize call floods. They encourage people to film the police in an attempt to hold them accountable, where that just doesn't happen enough, police getting held accountable. They released a status earlier that they had received a death threat on their Facebook from somebody named Darren Redding. And Darren Redding is a soldier, and he's also a cadet for a sheriff's position in Washoe County, Nevada. And they also put the phone number on there. Now, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but basically the message starts off, the private message to Cop Block starts off with, this person saying that they were getting ready to join the academy, and in so many words saying that, this page is BS. You guys, focus on 1% of cops who do bad as opposed to 99% of cops who do good, and it's not fair, blah, 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 which I would definitely say that it's not true. It's the institution of police and their MO as a for-profit corporations beholden to contracts with private prison industries that have occupancy arrangements in those contracts that makes them do these things. So I would say that it is a lot more than 99%, but I digress. Anyway, the message itself, I'll just read the really juicy part here at the end. This guy said, "You're an effing bitch, and I hope some cop beats your ass next time that you're protesting or filming them or whatever. In fact, I'm about to start the training academy for the Washoe County Sheriff's Department in Reno, Nevada, and I can't wait to deal with punk-ass bitches like you. I would beat your effing liberal ass just for the sheer joy of it." Suck my dick, you waste of breathable air. You should have been aborted, but I guess your mother was a dumbass waste of life like you. You're the reason there's no hope for the human race. I can't believe people like you exist. And if I had it my way, there would be another Holocaust with camps and gas chambers full of cunt scabs like you. I hope you die. So this was a private message to our alternative media friends. Okay, somebody who's going into the police academy and is obviously espousing violence and things like that, which I'm sure they would say that they're to protect and serve for honor. So we are going to give a call to this deputy department and let them know that that this was said on a public forum. Now, if anyone wants to check this out, go to facebook.com/copblock. It was a post that they made from 8 hours ago, and they have screen captures of the whole thing. And yeah, so I mean, let's
repeat that again, Heist, real quick, because that's really important. Let producer know so that we can share the images as well.
Oh yeah, facebook.com/copblock. It was a post from 8 hours ago, so you got to scroll down a little bit on the Facebook page. I'm not sure if they have it up on their official site, copblock.org, but yeah, it's looking pretty bad for this guy who wants to supposedly protect and serve. So we're going to call. Copblock put out the number of this sheriff's department. Over there, it's about 4:40 in the afternoon, so it's definitely still open for at least another 20 minutes. So we are going to call them and see if they're aware of this and if they would really entertain the idea of hiring somebody who has been on the record saying something like this.
Right. And it is Sunday night after 7, so hopefully we get somebody.
Well, they should always be open. They should. I mean, you can call 911 at any point. And it's also Nevada, so it's 3 hours difference for us.
All right, let's go for it. And meanwhile, if you could, Heist, get a link to the direct article so people know what we're talking about. And we'll get the producer to post that up. Direct link, not just so they can scroll through.
This is Under Sheriff Tim Cusanek, and thank you for calling the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. If this is an emergency, hang up and dial 911. Please listen to the following options. Para información en español sobre presos en custodia, por favor, oprime número 9. To continue in English, please listen carefully to the following options. For information concerning inmates in custody in our jail facility, which includes booking and release information, press 1. For non-emergency dispatch, press 2. For records, which includes cases, fingerprint cards, work and weapons permits, press 3. For detectives to follow up on an existing active case, press 4.
I'm going to do that one another
regarding
time.
Information on garnishments or service of court documents, press 5.
That
For the
one too.
Patrol Administrative Office concerning alarm fees, scheduling ride-alongs, or citation questions, press 6. To contact Sheriff Haley, Under Sheriff Cusanek, Assistant Sheriffs Balaam, Miranda, or Pedersen, press 7. For the front desk, file a crime report, report abandoned vehicles, or for a staff member to assist you in routing a call, press 8. Please make a selection from one of the areas or remain on the line.
Heist, you going to do the talking here since you're so
call is
gifted
being
with the gab?
Sure.
Washoe County Booking.
Hi, my name is Michael Heiss. I'm calling on behalf of FPRN Radio. We're an alternative media outlet, and we are actually in the middle of a live broadcast right now. I just wanted to make you aware of a cadet who is looking to join your sheriff's department and something that he said to a fellow alternative media outlet espousing violence and threatening violence against them. Have you ever heard of...
Let me put you on hold 1 second, okay? Let me put you on hold 1 second.
Thank you.
PR relations.
Yeah, hold for 1 second might be a little bit more than that. So what do you think this guy's doing right now?
Putting us on hold until we hang up.
No, he's getting a hold of somebody who's more qualified to field that kind of questioning.
Yeah, it was probably razzling them. I honestly didn't want to say that we were, in a live broadcast until I got the right person, but...
Oh, sweet. So me and Moses are muted to this guy, so we can just continue. We all are. Very nice. All right, cool.
My hold music? What this sheriff's office doesn't know is Michael Heiss is a known activist with a grudge against all forms of authority. Let's see how he handles talking to Michael Heiss on his own radio show. He now knows that he's live on the air. Will he come back on? These questions and more on this week's Big Plantation. Answer.
Well, hang on. Let's strategize here, because Jamie could be right. They could be trying to wait us out. So do we want to set a time frame to try and call back? Or we hang up and call back?
I think what we're probably going to have to do is we're going to have to call back during the week, record it, and then just end up playing it on air like we have with previous things like this, because it's just what's going to end up happening. I mean, they're either going to wait this out, or a PR guy is going to get on and just say he can't answer any questions.
In all honesty, what we probably should do is have maybe producer take it over from here and speak until we have them on the line, and probably not have announced, "Hey, you're on the air. Think real time." Bro,
well, we're playing it safe. We're playing it safe. I mean, I know the law here in PA is that if it's a public officer, they have no reasonable expectation of privacy, and you can do these things because they're, a public officer.
The law.
But it is different in different states, and I'd rather err on the side of caution than. I mean, I've seen people get screwed for a lot less. So. I mean, look what happened to a demo.
Nothing illegal, Michael. I really wish you would have just went right into your concerns with a possible cadet, putting before good radio.
Yeah, apparently there's a media number that you can call.
Okay, well, I'll take that number down, but is there any way I could just, leave a note with you?
No, this is booking.
Booking, okay.
So, I talked to my wife.
I hit 8 for the front desk. Was there a mistake?
Let him talk.
Yeah, the front desk is closed on the weekends.
Gotcha. Okay, let me
tell him
what happened.
All right, what is this number?
He said you should already be aware of it. So,
I don't have it written down. Can you just give it to me again?
Let's see.
Talk to him on a personal level. Tell him what's happening.
Yeah, because we're just concerned because there is a cadet named. What is his name here?
Yeah, I don't have any
Darren Redding,
who
basically said he'd like to gas chamber about 80,000 people, and that's not an exaggeration. I know that sounds crazy and ridiculous, but that's not an exaggeration. I'm sorry, what's that number again?
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, we're just curious if this sheriff's department would actually be interested in hiring somebody that was on a public forum saying this to a large audience of people like that.
Just concerned citizens of the good Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the number is 742.
1 second.
4522.
742.
Mm-hmm.
What was after that?
4522.
4522. And what's the area code?
775.
775. All right, thank you. And, check out copblock.org. They have the full story there with screen captures and everything. This isn't like a prank or anything like that. There's really a cadet trying to get a job with you guys who literally said he wanted the gas chamber everybody who likes the page. So that's pretty scary if you think about it. We're just concerned, and we would like to see, to make sure that somebody who espoused that level of violence doesn't get a job in law enforcement, because that's very, very scary.
Plus, knowing that sheriff's offices do use alternative media sources like Facebook to screen
I will
their
call
people,
back,
we
so
want to
thank you
make
very
sure
much.
that takes place when screening this individual.
Okay, well, I will call back during the week, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good. Very good.
Well, moving right along here, since
how did you
we all
not
knew
have
how
that
was
guy's
gonna go.
name in front of you?
Because I have to use one of these stupid roll pads instead of a mouse.
You're chiseling shit into a stone? What are you talking about?
I got multiple stories in
It
front
was a
of me,
good
man.
job, though. It was good. All right. That now they know. I'm just going to tell you right now. Let's go into the psyche of that building right now. He put us on hold and said, there's some radio show called about one of the cadets. He's saying that he wants to gas chamber people or something or other. Hey, put on John. He's the stupidest one. He'll give the least information. This is Officer John. And then that's what happened.
Well, yeah, like Jamie said, though, I know I can do it sometime this week, do a follow-up, talk to a real person, and get the story, get the scoop.
Yeah, this has definitely been something that we're all too familiar with here at the Big Plantation, making calls to feds. Oh.
Those aren't feds, bro. In fact, I want to reiterate something here real quick, is that the sheriff's office and the sheriff's department of many states have become the only form of resistance against the federalized state police and now the federalization of the regional police. The sheriffs in a lot of states have thrown the gauntlet down and said no.
I do concede that to you. You are absolutely correct.
That's
I
true.
do not know that state is one of them, though. A lot of Midwestern states are terrible.
Well, regardless, if they're good or bad, the whole idea is that the sheriff's department is voted in.
The last
you know what I mean?
vestige, yeah.
Yeah, they're the last vestige and they're voted in, so therefore they have a vested interest in looking out for the public. It's the whole idea of what you statist communist minarchists, that's a joke, espouse, is that, we should be able to be vigilant citizens and call them out on crazy shit like this.
Go to vigilantcitizen.com. That's vigilantcitizen.com.
Why don't we start getting into some of the other stuff we got here? I don't
Jamie,
know.
thank you. Nice segue.
Like we have the Chris Christie thing that I know everybody's chomping at the bit to talk about.
I want to remind you that we did open tonight with Chris Christie. That's what I was miming aloud with
Well, this
my
is true.
shtick.
But
yes,
yeah, let's get into it.
I mean, I personally wanted to talk about how much weight he's gained since Hurricane Sandy.
Excuse me, he had his stomach stapled, and a lot of that's loose skin. he's honestly, he's probably lost a good 400 pounds, but when you weigh 800 pounds, it don't look like you lost a lot. When he gets his neck and tuck, whatever he has to do to get rid of the flaps and whatnot, you'll be able to see just in time for the election. But he'll never, ever be able to get rid of that greasy slime on him. And it's not because he's a slimy politician. It's because he's from New Jersey.
I certainly don't know that he's even going to make it to election with what's been going on about this whole Bridgegate thing.
Oh, please. Come now. Come now, young Jamie.
I mean, we have to speculate. That's all we can speculate in what is rhetoric and what is not. Because I think the national media is obviously pushing him as a transparent person that you can trust and will fire his best friend when necessary and things like that. And then he's saying, on the same token, he himself is saying, oh, well, I have no interest in running for president. I can't believe you people are even talking about this. I mean, he said this, he said that during Sandy, but now he's also saying it again during his whole tirade the other day. So
one need not look any further than the article that sparked the whole drama here at Big Plantation. Because what took place with that whole thing was one David Casey from Deadbeats had engaged in the Alex Jones article that was shared on Mediaite. Am I saying that correct?
Yep.
Which was the fact that he called him a greasy pig, mafioso, whatever he called him.
Jabba the Hutt's brother.
He was what?
He called him Jabba the Hutt's brother.
Yeah. And what happened then was the people engaged in conversation under it were like, well, it takes one to know one. Look at this fat, greasy pig. So this is what made me put my Alex Jones suit on and take on the role of Alex Jones just to defend Alex Jones' right to say that, especially because they're missing the major point that Alex makes in that video. All right. And that is that they're doing this, so you pay attention to this. There's way more important things going on. This is 2 years removed from the election. You really think that this would be anything more than fodder during a debate at this point? 2 years from now? You really think that this is going to go beyond him firing that guy? That's it. All right? The media beat it up, but what it really did was toss Christie's name into the psyche of every single person in this country who still subscribes to the mainstream media bullshit mind control. He is the heir to the throne to fight off Hillary. On the left, they say he's wounded now. Hillary's got an easy march in. On the right, they say he looked presidential with how he dealt with this crises. That's all it was for. It's social grooming.
It's funny you should say that because being where I'm at now, there's a TV on. For me, it's the first time in years. And I heard him talking on and off about this whole thing. And the first thing that came to my mind as I'm hearing these things and hearing him be seemingly open and seemingly critical and all the things that you would want to hear, I was like, man, he's really putting it out there to make himself seem like he's trustworthy and open and transparent and all these good qualities. And when I said to you, that's what it seemed like to me they were trying to give off. Well, you said, oh, well, you must have been watching Fox News. And I wasn't watching coverage of it. I was watching the speech. So I just thought it was kind of funny that
Fox News reiterated what his speech's purpose was because they're the right, and he's right. Okay? Now what they're doing is trying to cause a bigger division between left and right with Chris Christie because he actually had a lot of left-leaning people think he's all right because the way he handled Sandy, the hurricane, because he embraced Obama during the political, waters of an election. Instead, ran hand in hand with him. The people, let me tell you about my best friend. And Fat Christie is running and jiggling all over. And Obama's hugging him and the water's splashing off the, coast of Wildwood. And they're dancing. And then, they grab a pretzel. They both bite at the same time, blush a little bit. Then they wind up kissing just for a second. Then, it goes a little further than that. But, just to see how it feels. And we already see and then they realize they liked it a little bit more than they wanted to. And then the left is like, he's not bad. He's Fat Christie. And New Jersey is a primarily left-leaning state during election or, statewide elections. And he's a Republican leading a blue state. Do you understand? So he's Mitt Romney. So that's what you're seeing is a polishing of a turd, a big, giant, mega turd from eating way too much bran.
And I agree. And we see the framework of how they're going to, try to gloss over Hillary. I think we already see the framework with Obama about anything that opposes Obama. It's got to be on racial lines, and you're a racist. I think
Hillary Clinton will be releasing her memoirs this July.
Well, I think we're going to see a transition from racist to misogynist. You know what I mean? You don't like this policy because you're a pig and you're a misogynist and you don't like women. You don't think women should be equal and all this crazy stuff. And women will probably lose more rights than they have in 100 years.
Perfect weaponization of people's phobias is how they operate with these federal level elections now. And that's exactly the narrative. You're absolutely right. That's what's going to happen. They will run with Chris Christie. He will tread water during this. He's been humbled by this. Jersey's economy will do some sort of turnaround based on number fudging. And they will shine that giant turd who will have lost 150 pounds by that time to go up against Rand, who will be onslaughted with his racist connections.
Well,
that's
and
how they will destroy.
I'm glad you brought it to Rand because I was going to ask you because you're basically in saying that they're trying to make moderate the candidate from the right by working hand in hand and being bipartisan, and that's the policy of Attorney Christie.
Done that in
and
every
we
single
see that
election.
we see that with Rand Paul. We see that with Rand Paul now that he is supported mass amnesty for 11 million people.
Right, but that's not. Listen, when Rand plays ball with things like on that nature, that's not from the hand of the great decider, whoever's deciding this left-right paradigm. That's not from that. I don't know where Rand does a whole bunch of shit to appease his gatekeepers over there. But when Rand stands there for 24 hours, or that was the other one, however many hours he stood there, talking about drones killing people, that's really Rand. When Rand talks about getting frisked and the invasion of, that's really Rand.
I agree with you on that, but I also agree that he is a politician more than anything, and that's why he
thinks that that's how this is going to succeed. Ron is all about Rand succeeding. It's his son. Now, he may not come out openly, and I now have come to peace with the fact that Alex Jones did not publicly promote Ron Paul during that election cycle that fucking infuriated me in 2012. Because there was an understanding made by the Pauls and Alex Jones, who helped get Rand elected, that we're playing long ball. This is the plan. Do not come out radical Alex Jones and promote what Ron is having done to him. Do not. We're playing long ball. That's my personal belief now. I've changed. And I think Rand is still Ron Paul's son. Not anymore. They're down at the floor.
With every
Generational cause. We'll be right back. This is Big Plantation. You listen live on FPRN Live.
They tell us what it's for. They now have boy joy.
You have reached the 911 emergency service. All operators are busy.
Oh God, please help me. He's got a knife.
You have reached the 911 emergency service. All operators are busy. Stay on the line for the next available emergency operator. You have reached the 911 emergency service. All operators are busy. Please stay on.
911 operator, what's your emergency, please? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Last year in the United States, thousands and thousands of 911 calls went unanswered. And if you call from a cell phone, there's no way to pinpoint where you are. Yet politicians like Dianne Feinstein call for more gun control. We have one question. Why do these politicians have armed bodyguards? Can't they just call 911?
Now I'm covered.
Now for the first time, you can be covered. If you've been waiting to be covered in mandates, regulations, and new fees, the time is finally here. Sort of. So make some coffee.
I'm covered.
Approach life with reckless abandon. Kick your feet up.
I'm covered.
Because you're going to be in the waiting room for quite a while. But don't you worry your pretty little head off. First of all, it wouldn't be covered.
We're covered.
No, I said it would not be covered.
Now we're covered.
No, that's not... Yeah, I don't think you understood what I meant by covered earlier. It was a little bit ironic. Healthcare.gov is not responsible for fulfilling any of the expectations, mandates, legal requirements, hopes, or dreams of any users. Results may vary. Consult your Obamacare-approved doctor or pharmacist to find out if Obamacare is right for you. Current waiting lists to have your doctor chosen for you are unavailable and will remain so for the foreseeable future. Obamacare may cause wait times, a decline in healthcare quality, money loss, political activism, anger, despair, hopelessness, frustration, European envy, dependence, and nausea. If you discover that your premiums have gone up as a result of Obamacare, please note that the program is working as intended and refrain from complaining. Call your doctor if you experience anxiety for longer than 4 hours. If you wish to opt out of Obamacare for any reason, please start a multi-million-dollar business, join a union, or run for Congress.
Mr. President, members of Congress, you've been making a lot of noise about taking our guns away. But you might want to review history. 1835, Gonzales, Texas Territory. The authorities wanted to confiscate the big gun that protected that colony. You know what the people said? Come and take it. Because they were willing to fight for their freedom and their guns. So are we.
Come and take it if you want it. Come and take it if you think you can. Come and take it, but I warn you, you'll have to pry it from my cold dead hands. We want the freedom that God gave us, so you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it.
One shot at a time. Just like Gonzales, we're keeping our guns.
Hi, I'm Steve.
I'm Irene.
I'm Lisa.
My name is Tom. I'm a graphic designer,
College freshman.
Stay-at-home mom with a full-time job.
Scholar on social policy and a barista.
and I'm just like you.
I'm an Obama supporter.
I support President Obama.
But the president needs your help.
Our president can't launch into another war without you. And remember, we promise to support him no matter what.
Together, we can do it.
That's why we here at the Americans for Whatever Barack Obama Wants, Did You Know He's Friends with Jay-Z, have launched a Kickstarter campaign to fund World War III.
And America is dead-ass broke. So our goal is to raise $1.6 trillion on behalf of the U.S. government.
That's where you come in.
Even a small donation would make all the difference.
When I first saw the president speak in 2008, in a YouTube clip posted to my Facebook page, I knew he was going to be right all the time. So I support World War III and IV. and any moon war the president may want to start.
I mean, there is no way that he or the cabal of corporate interests, spy agencies, and shadow bankers that tell him what to do would ever mislead us. A $25 donation will get you a piece of rubble from a war-torn Middle Eastern country kissed by Senator Lindsey Graham.
A $100 donation gets you a day pass to leave your local refugee camp.
You'll probably end up in a refugee camp, but it'll have free Wi-Fi.
So please, help us reach our goal of $1.6 trillion so we can make World War III a reality. Why? Because Obama.
Because Obama.
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.
Millions of tax dollars are spent on this type of computer surveillance.
Welcome back to the Big Plantation, everybody. We have had one hell of a week this week in news, and I just kind of wanted to make a quick run through on some things that caught my attention. Brazilian couple told pregnancy was imaginary. Mother accuses doctors of stealing baby. So far, there's not been any new developments with that. The woman just no longer has her child, and the doctors are telling her she's crazy. How do you guys feel about that? Did that strike a chord for you or anything? There's pictures of her pregnant. It's pretty impressive. I wish I would have given them to the producer earlier.
Now, did that take place in Brazil, or was that just a Brazilian couple?
Let us see. It was, yes, in Brazil. It happened.
Well, then who cares?
All right. Well, we have that. There's death threats and denial for a woman who showed college athletes struggling to read. This was a CNN report. I didn't know they did news anymore.
Yeah, they're moving out.
What was that rumor?
That's a wild story.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty impressive. It really caught my attention. And if you guys are outside anytime this week, there's some kind of crazy meteor shower going on for the next 5 days. Pretty much worldwide. There's been 2 giant meteors that came in between the moon and the Earth. They didn't even know that they were there until they saw them on the 10th, and they made passage on the 10th. So it was a pretty alarming thing. And normally clusters of meteors that large, some of them are about the size of the house. The size of a house. One is a little over 1 kilometer in length, but that one wasn't all that close. But it is causing a lot of debris in the atmosphere, and there's a lot of terrified people all over the planet seeing fireballs drop from the sky in rapid succession.
Has there been any connection drawn onto where these meteorites are coming from?
I mean, it's a normal passage of I forget what the exact name, because it's some conglomeration of numbers and letters to make it up, but it was a big asteroid that was traveling through the area, and many other ones are just in a pack with it, because that's how planets form,
Now again, we're also traveling through the debris field of Comet Ison right now.
Yeah, there's some speculation that it could be something to do with that as well.
It's an awfully strange coincidence.
It is. It really is. This is it's going to be an interesting year in the sky with the weather and everything. I mean, we've had a crazy winter, the coldest winter in history. Global warming's officially out the window. Arctic.
Well, I want to correct you here, Jamie, because while we in our entire country, statewide anyway, went below zero, the rest of the world is experiencing abnormal heat. We had a drop down of the Arctic circle blast of air that dropped down. I'm not a meteorologist. I don't get paid enough to be a meteorologist. And they are really good at what they do. I just want to say they're great. They've been doing a great job. They should keep up the good work. I remember 10 years ago where they would be like, it's going to be 10 inches, and we get like 8 inches. And they'd be like, the fucking guy said it 10 inches. Now it's like, we're going to get a dusting, and we get a foot. And they're like, well, we told you it might snow. It's fucking ridiculous. I got more information from my radar on my app than I can from Weather Channel, which now has given Greek names of Greek gods to every storm that come through. But just ironically, that storm that you're referencing was called Hercules. Did you know that, Jamie?
I actually didn't.
Well, it is. Look it up. Research it. I beat the Jamie bot. Right there. Out stumped the Jamie. Name of the storm was Hercules, which would mean shit unless you were really paying attention to the certain linings of certain stars and whatnot. And I just happen to be a geek enough to know the relevance of Hercules with certain constellations as Ison did its cresting of our sun, exploding, leaving a trail as it went back out towards our outer outer solar system. As we pass through that now, I want to remind everybody also that throughout ancient writings, comets have always heralded in or been an omen for bad things, mostly the plague. The plague, you can go back to ancient writings, was heralded in by a comet. Am I wrong in any of that?
No.
Is there not
I've
a consensus amongst certain scientists that may be rooted in scientific fact, being that we're not exactly sure where these snowballs really form and generate and what could be locked inside them, and as they rain down debris on us, they've almost carry with them an occult symbolism, and
definitely
potentially viruses don't serve a natural order within our organic life here. In fact, they only exist to kill or cause havoc, really. You can't find a natural makeup or a reason. They're not even really living by our standards, viruses or viri. How you say multiple viruses? But anyway.
I think it's viri.
It's viri?
I think.
Multiple viri. But just taking into consideration all these things lining up with this first H1N1 diagnoses of a death in our country and the outbreak of a strange tuberculosis-type disease out west, timed with plenty of other Hercules-type things. And let's go conspiracy world right here.
There's a Hercules movie coming out.
There is a Hercules movie coming out. And also, what was the name of the drive or the street that the guy from Fast and Furious died on?
Ooh.
I do not know.
I believe it's Hercules Ave.
They need that on Jeopardy.
I'm pretty sure it has something to do with Hercules. During the course of a rant, feel free to fact check. Because sometimes it's just out of my ass, sometimes it's out of my pineal. Who knows where it's coming from? You know?
Well, and whether it's a self-fulfilling prophecy or it's an actual reality that the comet's bringing death upon us and the sky is falling, I guess we'll soon see. But one thing that's definitely coming out of, not necessarily to do exactly with the H1N1 virus, but one of the more prominent victims of Obamacare has come forward in an article on Huffington Post. The Obamacare glitches forced a woman to postpone her cancer surgery. Now, the Washington Post opened up with this article saying, we don't even know that this is the only woman that this has happened to. This is just the only one that we saw. So the update, of course, that today, I believe, 5:02 p.m., she has received her confirmation on her insurance and everything. But we're talking about somebody who's dying of cancer, who needs treatment. They need surgery. They need a tumor removed. And sorry, your Obamacare didn't necessarily work when you signed up for it. We're going to have to postpone your surgery. I hope you don't mind and it's not an inconvenience to you.
Yeah, that's out of control. I mean, and it's a horrifying story, and it's horrifying every time you hear about these cases, and we're going to hear about a lot more of them moving forward. But unfortunately, to anybody who looked into it, it's not even a surprise. I mean, I would recommend everybody to go look at an article, Obamacare, the top 10 biggest threats, and top 100. And I mean, this woman who wrote this article, she cites the page, the paragraph, and the lines in which she is getting this information, posts those lines, and then explains everything that's going through it. And in this, I mean, it's definitely talking about rationing of health care and bonuses to doctors who get older patients to accept death and go into therapy for that as opposed to actual medical attention and things like this. So it's really unfortunate and frightening, really.
No,
Not to
it
mention
absolutely
anybody
is.
who has had the unfortunateness. I'm sure everybody has someone they can point to in their immediate family or somebody who's died from cancer. They can say unequivocally that the current process used to supposedly fight cancer does nothing more than make the last few months or maybe a year, if you're lucky, of life be horribly deterioration, and complete inability to eat, your hair falling out, and just increasing cancer's ability to completely devastate your body. And that's what medical science has brought it to. And cancer is never, ever been so rampant as it is right now, which makes it so important for people to wake up out of this mist that only the medical system, i.e. the socialist medical system now, is what can save you from this. And they keep silent on the fact that you can beat these things. There are people doing it. They try to stop them from getting their knowledge out there, but cancer is curable. Chong from Cheech and Chong was diagnosed with cancer a year ago, took a huge blast, as he put it, of hashish oil. I don't know how much specifically, but a huge amount, and is proclaiming that he no longer has cancer. There's been plenty of studies. There was the backtracking of Sanjay Gupta, who admitted that at very least it stopped the progression of cancer. Admitted that in his special.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of these cases with tumors, with CBD, one of the compounds in marijuana, even THC compound in marijuana. But and the crazy thing is, like, that's not even everything. We were talking before about how cancer seems to be attracted to glucose. So therefore, if you mix something like molasses with baking soda, it reacts to the baking soda as if it's fungus. Now, the person that I
want
know,
to correct something real quick, Heist, because when I did fire that off before technology shut down here in the homestead, I was definitely misquoted in that. I don't want people who are sick going and just chugging baking soda and eating a whole bunch of molasses. It's a scientific breakdown. It's an actual thing. But I suggest that anybody look up the gentleman who wrote the book on that. Okay, who's practicing it. In fact, he doesn't even credit himself for writing the book. There's plenty of doctors who are doing this practice. You're absolutely right that cancer is drawn out to attack molasses.
Oh, yeah, and for the record, I would recommend, I'm a 24-year-old kid looking for work who's done a lot of research. Jamie is a 23-year-old. You're 30 years old and you have your jobs. I would, if anyone was going to just take our word for it without doing research, that's nuts. But we have heard of these topics, and definitely go out and look into it, because, you have a guarantee on what's going to happen pretty much through chemotherapy, or you could have some hope by looking through these alternative things. And there's, like I said, there's more than one case. Keith Smith, who used to be on this show, he had skin cancer on his face, and he made it go away with baking soda, with a baking soda paste. G. Edward Griffin, he wrote books in the 80s about how he did research and had cured cancer with different vitamin complexes and things like that. It was called quackery by the medical community, but everything that isn't big pharma is called quackery, it seems like.
Yeah, while dealing with viruses and colds, and I'll let you go, Jamie, I just wanted to add, vitamin C, all these vitamins that are put out by these pharmaceutical companies, these are not the real pure form of vitamin C. Vitamin C really is a cure-all, an immune boost mixed with true zinc. So the way to get those is by eating naturally occurring vitamin C in high doses.
Or getting your organic vitamins from a whole food store. Definitely don't trust synthetic suppliers like your CVS's and your other stores, Rite Aids, like that. No, you're absolutely right, Moses.
Yeah. And I wanted to add into this, if we're going to stay here for real quick, I wanted to give some real life, true talk, as I'm dealing with in real time. We're both, me and my girlfriend have been fighting off her Lyme's. She was diagnosed with Lyme's about 2 years ago now. And I watched us move through the medical community which supposedly limes is such a rabbit hole you could never imagine if you really dug into it. I know Jesse Ventura did a big piece on the origins of it, how it seems to be a weaponized thing. Certainly the tick has no real natural purpose within just like we were just talking about. It doesn't seem to have any other, reason but to spread disease. And then it's almost weaponized, and you have these controlled outbreaks of limes. And what we've come to the conclusion of here after dealing with it was that it's almost like a psyop. Really dealing with this here, and the scourge in this area of people coming down with limes is unbelievable. And we have decided now to deal with it 100% naturally, holistically, if you will, and researching and understanding and treating it almost just like that cancer. And when you understand what Lyme's patients do go through while working through the medical community until they find a doctor that's supposedly Lyme literate, then it turns out their whole answer is just to go through the pharmaceutical industry 150%, and you realize all that does is make you sicker. And then you got to ask yourself, what is really happening with limes? And if something like what we're talking about with cancer cells being attracted to molasses would work and then be killed by something as common as baking soda, there's got to be something there for limes. And again, we could save that for another day, go through a whole conversation on the limes topic. But that is definitely something that people who are into researching the ways and levels of attack that are happening to the American people, or the human people, through this oppression, one of which is the controlled diseases that are almost being used, not just like a thinning of the herd, but almost as a survey, almost as a pre-socialized medicine test on the American people to see how they would handle certain things.
And it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, we know that the Nazis were using ticks as biological weapons, injecting them with different diseases and things like that, and they were testing that out. And then you got Project Paperclip, where we brought these same people over here, gave them immunity, and used them for their scientific, quote-unquote merits. I mean, Jerome Corsi from WorldNet Daily, he just put out a book that asserts that Hitler made it out alive, and his wife did too. And, that's a big part of his book. So history, obviously, is not what it seems, and obviously most people know that, but it could be a breakout of some kind of military bioweapon. We don't know.
No, it absolutely could be. And I mean, with the medical industry, with the way that it is completely being controlled for the past 100 years by the J.D. Rockefeller Foundation, and how they bought up all the hospitals and everything in the country to just make it out that they were the only medicine and the only true medicine, and any other kind of medicine is just fraudulent, in the whole name of just making profit off of people's illnesses. It's a very real possibility.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, seeing the horror of Obamacare, going forward, and that's probably just going to get worse, how the medical system breaks down as it's beholden to Big Pharma. The best thing that you can do to take control is to take care of your body, man. That's the best thing we can do, and this is something I'm woefully behind on, and I really, really, hearing these stories, it just makes me afraid, honestly, I really take my health for granted, and that's something that is in our hands, is the diet that we take, the way we treat our bodies. That is something that is under all of our own control, and is the best preventative treatment, as opposed to any kind of big pharma medication or radiation treatment.
Know your enemy. Overstand, y'all. Overstand. Know your enemy. Nonfiction. 2001. But it's all problem, reaction, solution. Problem.
But Jamie, what were you saying?
Certain disease outbreak. Reaction, somebody help us. Solution, H1N1 virus, antivirus, injected into your body. Actual reaction, cerebral palsy.
Well, we're going to set up for the next segment here because we're coming pretty close to the break. But I have one more thing I wanted to get into that's really going to – I feel like it's going to move us forward pretty well because, all right, you guys can hate on me for saying this, but I feel like Sarah Palin has come a long way in the past couple of years. And I was on a friend's page. Her name's Desiree. She runs The Truth Behind, and she posted this great article. It was a YouTube video, and I want to play part of that right now just to see what you guys think about it.
Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin joins us. Good evening, Governor.
Gretchen.
Hi, Greta. You know, you have to ask yourself, which one does he consider being a phony scandal? I think that this is atrocious, and it's not a coincidence that he and his spokesperson, that they're all using this term phony scandal. It's like Jonah Goldberg asked this morning, which one does he consider phony? Would it be Benghazi, where 200 plus years of honorable military ethos was thrown out the window when we left our own behind to be slaughtered by radical Muslims? And, you know, does he consider it a phony scandal when we understand now that our government spies on us and then government lies to us? Which one does he consider specifically as a phony scandal?
You know what I don't understand? I mean, look, I understand saying something off the cuff and choosing a bad word, and it happens to all of us, and then we regret and we get pounded by someone for saying it or writing it or whatever. But this was actually the fact that it was the press secretary saying it on one day when they're supposedly talking about an economic speech, when he's foreshadowing what the president's going to do, this big economic speech. And then the president does the same thing. And so it's obviously calculated. They got it together. But they must know that there are a lot of Americans who feel targeted by the IRS, or you've got Brian Terry's mother or Sean Smith's mother. Is why would they think that was okay or smart to do?
Yeah, well, again, I say it is all coordinated. These aren't coincidences. The terms that they're using and the distractions and diversions that they're kind of shoving down our throats right now. And, you know, that's pretty sad. Greta, the bottom line is something's up. And what Obama is doing right now is trying to run out the clock for some reason. And they're orchestrating chaos. But as they're running out the clock, it's like the stall play in a basketball game. They're hogging the ball, and it's unproductive, and it's cowardly, and nothing good is going to come from this.
All right, I think that's pretty much good. You're getting about the gist of what this whole thing was about. It's about a 6-minute long clip if you guys want to check it out on our page. But I mean, I really feel like that's something else. Coming from a former governor who was in a presidential race, who everybody thinks is a complete moron, and you know, I really think that honestly, she's a very honest person, and she is well-meaning, and it seems to be that way to me. Like it seems like she's trying, but she just doesn't fully get it, but she sort of gets it. You know what I mean? Like a good GOP member.
I
try to take these things.
I could see the merit in what you're saying, but I think that this is going to be a great moment to show Heiss that to label both me and Jamie as the same philosophical title that he came up with is wrong, because each person is different in their interpretation of things no matter what, and you can't come up with a label to just go, yep, that's an
argument against government, but we'll get into
metaphoric, tubular, super awesome, whatever. But here's my problem with it, okay? You do not, in my opinion, get to a status or a stumping speech status like she does without clearance for what you're going to say. What I see as what she's doing is a planting of a seed for the fake Tea Party to diminish our true liberty movement. That's what she has been geared for since she stopped being the vice president. She was the vice president nominee in 2008. Okay, Ron Paul was just gaining steam. They were just trying to understand how he was able to generate that kind of fundage. Okay,
yeah,
he did it through.
I totally agree with you, Moses. I totally agree with you. But here's the thing that I still, even as an anarchist, I wouldn't say I support the political system, but I support the actions done by these people that we can then use against them. Because I pretty much think that, look at the wars. It was a very left position to be anti-war. Now they're totally silent. It's just a continuation of picking and choosing your issues along partisan lines, I think. And that sucks. But at the same time, she's putting some truth out there that we could then take and, like Jamie is doing, say, oh, well, this person's credible to you. Why don't you listen to this? And then through that, you can draw all the lines.
Yeah, if you can use it that way, absolutely. But don't misconstrue where it's coming from.
Certainly
for example, she would never come out. All right, real quick. Go look at Glenn Beck and tell me that this man has not come around. Okay? Blaze has got some awesome articles on it.
Yep.
Tell me right now that Glenn Beck has not come around in the same way we're arguing that Palin's come around.
Well, he's also unchained now, too.
Right. So, but why the man's philosophy while on Fox News was the furthest thing from anything I could call coming around. He sounds like Alex Jones now.
There's a reason
very,
for that.
very similar. Will he go back in time and take back the fucking shit he was saying about Ron Paul while he was running?
I doubt it. No, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but it's just nice. I just like seeing things like this. Like, I'm not saying I'd go out and vote for her for president, but, you know, at least it's something, somebody on Fox News, you know, a former governor saying the things that she was saying. But
Andrew Napolitano as well. Great man. Speaks on Fox regularly.
True story. We're coming up on the break. We'll see you on the other side.
Do you have a group or organization founded on the principles of personal liberty, health freedom, or accountable government? We invite you to check out Same Side Entertainment. Same Side is a source for activists and liberty organizations to connect with well-known leaders in today's growing movement for sustainable living, personal liberty, and sovereignty issues. Same Side has a variety of keynote speakers, debate panels, interactive web presentations, musicians, and liberty-based entertainment, as well as services for web design, graphic design, video, and photography. Same Side can help customize your event by connecting you to the best of the liberty and political world while staying within your budget. Get connected with leaders in the liberty movement like Tom Woods, Kevin Gutzman, Jack Hunter, Robert Scott Bell, Bob Murphy, Michael Scheuer, John Bush, Jordan Page, Tatiana Moroz, and many more. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our website at www.samesideentertainment.com. Again, that's www.samesideentertainment.com. Same Side Entertainment, connecting you with the education and resources you need.
Obamacare. Fun. Cool. YOLO. At Obamacare, we believe in saying the words affordable health care so that young people will love us and sign up like lemmings. Sure, you pay 2.5% of your income in penalties, but young people don't have to worry about that because you don't have a job. Work sucks. That's why we at Obamacare want to trade your full-time job for a part-time one. So you'll have more time for fun things, like watching millionaire celebrities tweet about how affordable we are. Obamacare. Just like guys enjoy premium leather seats, so too you'll enjoy paying triple the healthcare premiums out of your new part-time salary. Speaking of guys, ever been on a mandate before? At Obamacare, we're full of mandates. But don't worry, big corporations get exempt, so you don't have to. It's fun paying for things you don't even use. Yeah, you work out, stay healthy. But come on, brah. Someone's got to pay for people who smoke, drink 85-ounce sodas, and live in a Barcalounger. So enjoy your premium hikes, young people of America, because everyone loves hikes. Obamacare. If millionaire celebrities can afford us, why can't you? A message from the White House Office of Obamacare. Propaganda to get young people to love us and sign up like lemmings.
Tired of living in a violent society? If every citizen was armed, no one would be dumb enough to shoot people. It's exactly the ethos our founding fathers had when they wrote the Constitution and then changed it, which is what makes it sacred now. Come mingle with safety-minded people like you at the Liberty City Gun Club. Our nation is still the world leader in one thing: armaments. Nothing says excitement like a night out with a small caliber semi-automatic weapon. Get social at the Liberty City Gun Club.
Well, yeah, it's getting tough out there. Yeah, no doubt. I work in home invasions, mostly. Some murder, occasional rape, if she's hot, or really bitchy. And I'm a huge advocate of gun control, absolutely. Every time I kick in a door or smash a window, I face the possibility of being shot and killed. Allowing citizens to own guns creates a hostile work environment for me and my associates. No one should have to work under those conditions. I say make them all illegal, absolutely. I mean, I break the law for a living. I'm a professional, so it doesn't really bother me. No doubt. No doubt.
Your local violent criminals work hard and put their lives on the line every time they attempt to murder, rape, abduct, or assault a member of the citizenry. They desperately need your help. With your support, there may finally come a day when a violent criminal can have his way with you or someone you love without the fear, anxiety, and stress caused by knowing there's a possibility his victim might be armed. Please show your support by voting for stronger anti-gun legislation, because criminals prefer unarmed citizens.
In 1997, a high school shooting was stopped by a vice principal with a gun. In 1998, a middle school shooting was ended by a neighbor with a gun. In 2002, a terrorist attack was stopped by a school guard and a teacher with a gun. After September 11th, pilots began carrying guns to protect their passengers. Let's give our schools and teachers the same option. Sign the petition at defendschools.com.
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.
Big Plantation on FPRN Radio. Big Plantation.
No mind, no time, no society man's ever built with no spine, no power, no panic.
Welcome back to FPRN Radio Live Big Plantation. I'm pretty sure we were just listening to Rebel Inc. Is that the new Rebel Inc?
I think
so. It's gotta be.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
Those guys are fantastic live.
Yeah, they are.
I've played with them many times, and they are awesome live. But I
They're
gotta
almost
say,
as good as Corrected Axiom live.
Shut up. But I gotta say, thank you. I was the livest one in that audience for him at Anarchy in the NYC, and if you ask the guys from Rebel Inc., they'll tell you. He threw me a pound during it because I took out Mike Heiss in the pit. There was no pit till I got there.
It was pretty great. I think he lost his shoe.
When I jumped down the middle and punched Mike in the face, it was freaking awesome.
Then you kicked him.
To be fair,
I did kick him. I did.
Moses
I don't know what I was doing, dude. I was out of my mind.
I just
but anyway,
threw my
we're
whole
back,
self
and we got a little bit of time. We got 100,000 things to talk about. We got to talk at the speed of light. But I'm going to spin the wheel and decide 86 Sandy Hook, because we were going to talk some Sandy Hook stuff. But you know, why preach it when no one wants to even speak about it? Who cares, right? Who the fuck cares, right? Kids died. Let's just accept it. Instead, let's talk about something that is really dear to Mike. What?
Hillary Clinton. What does it even matter? What does it even matter?
Exactly. Me and Mike, and I just want to throw out there that this next Friday on Coke's News on Big Plantation Fridays, we will be having Jamie Martin come on. So look forward to that. But this past Friday, we did have one Michael the Terror, is it? The Big Terror?
1 for 4.
Terrorist heist. Click. Heist. Come on. And we got into a great conversation, which tends to happen with Mike when you get him going on the subject of anarchy versus statist. I believe we're all just degrees of statist, in my opinion, according to the anarcho philosophy. But yeah, I think it's a great place for us to kick around, get our three mentalities mended up, but with our powers combined, we form Voltron. You guys might be too young to remember Voltron, so go Power Ranger.
I've heard of. I've heard it referenced in several raps.
Whatever, yeah, go Power Ranger, all right, and put your rings together and form Captain Planet. I'm gonna kick it over to Heiss just to give our audience an understanding of what a real, true, pretentious point of view on on a philosophy can be. And I'm completely facetious with that statement. But Heiss, please give me and Jamie the definition of what it is to be an anarchist.
See, my definition is a lot more open than what I would call almost a nominal anarchist. And it is silly when you get into it, because anarchists almost have turned into like what the metal community is, where there's all these different subgenres and craziness like that. But at the base of it, anarchism or anarchy is Greek for no masters. So that's it. Having no, as you put it on the show, no hierarchy, no masters, so therefore no government.
Did you learn that from me on the show?
That was a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah, you'd never heard that before. Jamie, I always fact check with Jamie. Jamie, would you say, what is the opposite of anarchy?
Socialism. I mean, wouldn't it be the total government, completely master enslavement?
Yes. On a a graph showing us degrees of and what is that called? That if you're purple or if you're red or if you're blue, centrist and this and that. But I mean the actual word anarchy. The true opposite would be, by definition, hierarchy. Would you agree with that?
I see that. Yes.
And I thought and I hoped it was an epiphany for Mike. And I usually can tell when there's an epiphany for Mike because about a week later he fish sticks his way to saying that he thought something up. So stand by for that to become Mike Heiss's idea. But for now, let's start there with the idea that a hierarchy and anarchy are complete opposites. So therefore, anarchists, whether realizing it or not, are calling for a complete opposite to what has caused our current quagmire in life. Would that be fair, Mike?
I don't think hierarchy. I mean, I guess government would be a hierarchical system, but because I think I know where you're going to go with this. There can be such thing as a natural voluntary hierarchy, like a job structure or something like that.
Whoa. What the hell is voluntary about a job structure?
A job structure? How is that not voluntary? People form businesses and people want work and things like that. How is that not voluntary? Now, the way in which that job structure is formed would be up to the owners of that business. So that's one of the big left-right divides.
What makes the necessity to have a job?
What's that?
What is the necessity to have a job? Are you going to work for XY business because you believe in their message and you have free-willed your way to being a part of it? 99.999% of American people who are working would say absolutely not. So they are not voluntarily in their job situation.
But to compare this to a free market and a prosperous market because of that freedom is not fair or accurate. That's like saying Somalia is a good representation of an anarchist society. Well, it's a failed state. it's
right, but wouldn't that be the definition of what an anarchist wants? Is failure of the state to show then that anarchy was the true right philosophy?
Well, you have to look at where you're starting at using Somalia. Like with Somalia, you're starting out from an already poverty-stricken area because of the policies of the government that then failed. So you're starting not from zero, but you're starting from way in the negative. So
let's start with ours then. Let's start with ours. Let's start with a constitutional republic unlike ever seen before in society.
Okay.
Can we agree that? And let's start and see the point at which we got to where the argument for anarchy can have legs to stand on. What point can you point to?
Well, it was from the beginning. That's what the whole argument of the anti-federalists was. Now, as far as where did it turn, it wasn't long before the Alien Seditions Act came in. It wasn't long, which was basically the Patriot Act. It wasn't long before the First National Bank, which is, a precursor to the Federal Reserve. It wasn't long before that stuff came in. So,
all right, you always point to this First National Bank, and I always point to the Federal Reserve. What is the difference?
It was just the first central bank, but this one was chartered, and it was created by special interest groups. But that's the whole point of what.
How was it shut down?
They didn't renew the charter.
Why?
I think they said it wasn't in the national interest of the country because back then, when you had a corporation, you had to be for the general welfare.
How did the Federal Reserve come to be?
Jekyll Island and robber barons.
The Great
and
Duck
who
Dinner.
was voices of dissent during that time, and what practice in the Constitution did they use to enact a Federal Reserve?
I guess it would be the General Welfare Clause, but I mean, they knew that they were acting unconstitutionally. They knew that.
Okay.
They just were trying to usurp the mentality of people to support it by using language like, oh, well, we want to make sure that this quagmire doesn't happen or this depression or this bank crash doesn't happen.
And
you
let's
used
call
a
it
key
federal.
word there, usurp. They usurped the Constitution in order to make it happen. Now, you also referenced the Patriot Act. Again, usurped the Constitution to make it happen. They used as pretext a false flag, just like they do with almost everything. So basically, your grounds to believe that anarchy would be the true philosophy in order to fix our current situation was because of a innate flaw within this government structure, when I argue that the only way we got to where we are is by usurping the doctrine that would have stopped any of this from taking place.
But that's called failure, right? Like that's
they
all right,
usurped
here's the stated goals of what it didn't do anything to stop it, didn't prevent it happen on its watch. That's failure. And in any other definition, if I set out to do a goal and that goal didn't happen, I failed. The Constitution failed.
And who failed? The Constitution failed, or the people not watching that the Constitution wasn't being followed? Which was it? Did the doctrine, an innate object, fail?
We have to learn,
or did the
but we have to
people who were
learn
supposed
from
to hold
history.
their people true to that fail?
You could argue that, but it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be valid because it's not the first time that a government, it was the biggest time and the most, the most separation of powers was ever tried, and it still failed. So what I'm seeing is that all governments have eventually stopped serving the interests of their people, became insolvent and violent, and that seems to be the inherent truth of any government.
Correct.
Now,
and
the
that the
Constitution,
closest we ever came was through the idea of a doctrine ruling over man. And in order for them to get around this separation of powers within that doctrine, they had to usurp that doctrine. The closest we ever came in humanity to having a society with limited government and the inability therefore of the formation of a dictatorship was this constitutional republic.
But the usurpation is incentivized by the creation of the centralization of power to begin with. You think you're going to stop people who are voting in from saying, "Oh man, this big business contract that's coming my way this donation that's coming from this big business isn't in my interest"? Of course, that's going to happen. I mean, we all know that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that's what government is.
And that's why there was work within this framework.
It is the killing of competition in certain areas of the economy. That's all government is. It's the killing of competition in certain areas of society, whether it be the justice system or whether it be who builds the roads or whatever it is. It's the killing of that and the monopolization of it.
Now, how did our country gain all its wealth prior to 1917 and the Federal Reserve?
Gain all of its wealth? The free market system.
And what was taking place?
I would say the relative free market system.
What was taking place, though, in a much freer market system? There was a big boom in certain industries, correct?
Yeah.
With absolutely no government entity to come in and squander it, as we understand, right?
And you're talking about like all the crap in the coal mines and child labor laws and stuff like that. But they also didn't have the technology that we have now. How many people knew about that? How many people had access to that information? We have Yelp now. It's irrelevant. And
now, real quick, in an anarchist society, please outline what the volunteerist view is of how society will maintain functioning and how things will get done. Go ahead.
Like the central doctrine?
Yes.
The idea being, as Adam put it very well, is that all interaction, the basis of all interaction between a society should be voluntary and free of coercion, whereas government interaction is inherently coercive. George Washington himself said this, that government is force.
That's absolutely true. Now, how would roads get built? This is your own question that you formulated to yourself last week. I wanted you to go ahead and answer it.
The way the roads would get built is the same way that doctors' offices open, that grocery stores get open, and things like that. That's scary to people because I can't point to one specific person and say, hey, that person is definitely going to build the roads. But
free market. You need a service. Somebody will provide that service. Now, you're going to need to collectively come together on ideas of that nature, correct?
Sure. Probably, yeah.
And you would need to then surround yourself with like-minded individuals to get the things that you want accomplished.
Not necessarily.
Collectivism.
They don't necessarily have to be like-minded even. You don't have to be like-minded to recognize a mutual benefit.
Absolutely. I would argue that nobody who signed that Constitution was completely like-minded.
Sure. I mean, Hamilton signed it.
All right. Now, all this being said, in this anarchy utopia, people are just going to take care of each other out of the goodwill natured of humanity. There is no need for a law enforcement.
No. That is a common conflation that, ill will is suddenly just going to leave humanity. No. And no one's saying it's going to be perfect. I don't understand why anarchy is held to a standard of perfection like it's going to be a utopia.
No, because you would need to answer these questions. In order for it to be a philosophy that you actually believe is applicable, you need to answer to me, where then does law enforcement come, or is there a necessity for it at all?
Loaded, because that's presupposing that ill will just disappears, and that's obviously not true.
Right. So where does it come from?
Where does what come from? Ill will?
No, the stopping of it, the law enforcement. There would need to be law, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so where does that come from? In your anarchist society.
It would come from, all right, I would answer that question with a hypothetical here. If you took a poll and said, hey, do you think murdering is bad? Do you think theft is bad? Most everybody is going to say, yes, that's bad. So what you are describing is a mass incentive for people to pay for the service to hedge against these violations of rights. And then if you say, how do we determine that this was actually done? Sounds like you're incentivizing the justice system on a voluntary level. We don't oppose the services that government claims to give us.
Wait, watch yourself. Just stepped in a whole pile of statists, bro. Hold on a minute.
No, because it's the coercive application of these services, and that makes it so that they don't have to compete, and therefore that they are crap. Cops suck. We're in
agreement. We're in agreement that power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. But we sound like we're also in agreement that there is a necessity for rights, inalienable, and a way to uphold the rights of individuals who could have somebody else's force used against them, because you cannot control evil.
This is starting to sound like a doctrine.
Yeah, what I'm doing here is evolving him in the natural evolution of an anarchist over into a bluer area as they start to concede certain things, and then realize that we don't have the time to do this, so let's just get somebody we trust to take care of it and watch over, and if they fuck up in a couple of years, we vote them out. But when the people stop paying attention, well, then it runs rampant.
Well, of course, but you incentivize people not paying attention by giving those things off to other people. That's common sense. Like if somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to do it for you, and I'm going to do a good job," okay, cool. You know what I mean? Well, and then when you're giving them money and they have the ability to distract you with other things that feel good, so you don't notice that they're doing this, then of course it's going to happen. And then, not to mention, what are you going to do when a big business comes in, and how do you react? If you could fire these people, which you can't really do it because they're all funded by banks, they're all in the same convergent interest groups. So there's nothing you can do. If you could fire
cops, really jump
they'd get
to
their act together.
astrophysics while still talking in chemistry. Let's stay in chemistry for a minute before we start talking astrophysics. All right, we're building the anarchist dream state.
We've only got 8 minutes.
I use state facetiously.
You didn't build that.
Okay.
Somebody else
didn't build that.
made that happen.
So you're born into bondage now. We're both in agreement because the way that our Constitution has been perverted, usurped, complete bondage you're born into. Now you're born also into a situation that you didn't vote for, but your forebears did. This would have to be a lot of trust then in the family that you grew up in, right? Or a lashing out thereof. Kind of goes to the argument, if you don't like it, get the fuck out. We're still here and we're still talking, right? Anarchists are the same. As you've said, an anarchist is almost a double entendre, right? Because you can't be an anarchist while living within this society.
We're talking about, and
you are not an anarchist because you live governed.
If you're talking about concessions, you got to give me some benefit here, because there's a lot of things that I differ with a lot of this crowd that's hard-nosed, and you know that.
Yeah, but you need to take on the entire burden of the anarchist community right now during this debate. That's what this is. This is a debate of ideology, okay? And I am purely playing a devil's advocate role here, okay? I'm not trying to completely bash the merits of anarchists. I'm forcing you to concede what any anarchist must when asked this frame of questioning, which they never get asked. They never have to go beyond a philosophical viewpoint of what's mine is mine, as long as I don't impede on you, is that and that. But how do you expect to get things done and prosper? You work in a system, you live in a system that was built for you. You didn't build that. Right? This is here.
Yeah, but
now
you're talking
you have
about
the right.
reality of how we get there versus the philosophy of why it would work. In which, if you're talking about the reality of how we get there, I agree that just saying, oh, well, this is the philosophy, obviously is not going to do it. And it's going to be a process, because if we have a failed state situation, we already see what happens there. Even though things are getting better relatively compared to where they were before in Somalia, their literacy rates up, their electricity rates are up, all these things are going up. But that's still not the situation I want to be in. So, yes, I agree. It's going to be a process.
Heard where we were heading. Jamie understood before we went on a tirade there that we were heading towards a full circle where you were actually going to outline an idea of a structure within anarchy, because you have to.
But that's what the free market does. It's
you
order,
want
but
a
that's
society
not,
rule that makes you an anarcho-capitalist. You believe that capitalism can be that great law.
Yes, but capitalism extends to everything and not just business transactions. It extends to ideologies, to human interactions, to all these things, which means that you could have voluntary socialism run right alongside the capitalist things. Look at Valve. In fact, I laughed at a lot of my anarcho-capitalist friends. Valve has what can only be described as an anarcho-leftist business structure, and they're $1 billion company.
Now, if you're going to have the market dictate things with no giant giver, and I'm not going to go the social route of argument, because I don't even believe philosophically with the idea of the state, the nanny state. Okay, I don't believe in that. I fundamentally don't. I'm a Ron Paul supporter. I believe in what Ron Paul has to say. But I believe that if Ron Paul were standing here talking to an anarchist, he would just dismiss it very easily by saying it's not real.
He's been asked about this. He's been asked about this on film, and he said that he kind of gave a double-edged answer. He basically said, no, he's not an anarchist, but you could probably say that anarchism is the ultimate goal, in that you need a virtuous people to do both. You need a vigilant citizenry to keep government in check, or you need to be, you'd have to be virtuous in order to have anarchism work. I would say that I would say that virtuism.
That he's speaking there. You would need a virtuous people in order for anarchy. It means it's a pipe dream. And
no,
again,
it's not, because
go to the word anarchist and go to the actual polar opposite.
No, it's not a pipe
If it's a
dream.
hierarchy
And I've already
against,
gone
then
over
yes,
this.
call me an anarchist.
It's not.
But then
a
you
pipe
must
dream.
build.
Huh?
But then you have to build. You have to concede at some point that there needs to be rule and there needs to be law. And you won't need to look any further than somebody who gets affected in a negative light.
Nobody's disagreeing with that. What we're disagreeing is that the application of that law being arbitrary versus being voluntary. And voluntary trumps arbitrary every single time.
So how do you make it a voluntary law enforcement on a murderer?
Absolutely.
Somebody murdered your mother. How do we have this voluntary man serve his time?
I am not an entrepreneur. I cannot. The same way that I can't point to the specific person who is going to build the roads, I cannot point to you how exactly competing justice systems would work. All I know is that the very vast majority of people want them, so they would be there. And the example that I gave before, and I still give, is that we, as of right now, are overtaxed, way overregulated, and have inflation chipping away at the value of our dollar every day. And yet, they're still successful pet psychologists. There's ridiculous
I want to
markets.
let you know that
there's
what
ridiculous
you are
markets that
explaining, Mike, is an actual statist, because you believe in the formation of many states within this United States, where the government changes from state to state.
There would definitely be things that take that role, but again, it's different. The context is completely different when you are contractually in it and you can revoke that contract based on
or move to the next state that shared more of your values and your ideals.
But you have the ability to do that. You can't escape the state here.
Right, because of the federal government.
Well, no, even at a state level.
You can't escape the state law of, if you need weed this bad that you don't want to do time for it, maybe move to Colorado.
But again, you're looking at that through rose-colored glasses. They can't even put their money in a bank, so it might not even be around. They're still having federal raids. They're still having all these things.
Absolutely. We're both in agreement that the federal government is out of control, and it usurped the Constitution to do so.
I would tell you this, that I think most anarchists would agree with this. In practice, if we had to choose between what's going on right now and a minarchy, definitely would choose a minarchy. But we also acknowledge that a minarchy will not stay a minarchy. And I would say, and I challenge every single listener, I challenge both of you guys, I challenge everybody in the world to give me this question, and I will concede, is that if you can show me one government from any place in history, any time in history, that both did its objective or its stated goals and stayed solvent for an extended period of time.
We're running out of time, Mike. By
people's...
conceding a minarchy, you are not an anarchist.
No. I said, if you can answer this question, what you cut me off from?
You think that a minarchy would work, you're not an anarchist.
I said it would be better, preferable to what's right now.
Preferable. So, if anybody who is calling themselves an anarchist believes in this minarchy you just said, they are not an anarchist.
Never said I believed in it. I said it would be preferable.
Preferable.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining the Big Plantation, and we'll see you next Sunday.
For liberty!
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.